You finally got what you wanted. The goal, the job, the moment you imagined for months, maybe years. And for a brief second, it felt right. But then something strange happened. The feeling faded faster than you expected. And now there's just this quiet emptiness, like something is missing, but you can't explain what. So you start wondering, was this ever what I really wanted? You thought reaching this point would change something inside you, that it would fix the restlessness, the subtle dissatisfaction you've been carrying. But instead, your days look almost the same. You wake up, you go through the motions, you check off tasks. Only now, there's no next big thing pulling you forward. And that's where it gets uncomfortable. Because before this, your life had direction. Even if things were hard, you had something to chase. Now, the chase is over. And without it, your thoughts start getting louder. You begin to question things you never questioned before. Is this it? Why don't I feel different? Why am I not happier? You might even feel guilty for feeling this way, because on paper, everything looks fine. People around you might say, you should be proud, you made it. But internally, something doesn't match. And slowly, you start losing interest. Not just in the goal you achieved, but in other things too. You scroll more, you delay decisions, you feel less driven. It's not burnout exactly. It's more like disconnection. And the confusing part is, you don't know what you lost, only that something is missing. This doesn't mean you're ungrateful, and it doesn't mean your goal was wrong. What you're experiencing is actually very common, but it's rarely talked about, because most people assume that achieving something should complete you. But your brain doesn't work like that. In fact, this feeling of emptiness is not a failure. It's a side effect of how motivation and identity are built. You didn't lose meaning. You just lost a structure your mind was relying on. And once you understand that structure, this feeling starts to make sense. Your brain is not designed for satisfaction. It's designed for pursuit. There's a system in your brain called the dopamine system, but it's often misunderstood. Dopamine is not the reward chemical. It's the anticipation chemical. It rises when something is ahead of you, something uncertain, something you're moving toward. Think of it like a spotlight. It lights up the path in front of you, but once you reach the destination, the light turns off. So when you were chasing your goal, your brain was active, engaged, focused. Not because you had the goal, but because you were approaching it. This is called reward prediction in neuroscience. Your brain constantly predicts how good something will feel, and when you finally get it, the actual experience rarely matches the expectation. So the dopamine drops. Not because the achievement is meaningless, because the prediction phase is over. And then something deeper happens. Your identity shifts. Before, you were someone becoming something. Now, you're just someone who has it. And that transition creates a gap, a space where your mind hasn't updated yet. This is why the emptiness feels so confusing, because you didn't just lose a goal, you lost a version of yourself. So how do you deal with this without falling into that emptiness again? Not by chasing another random goal, but by understanding how to work with your brain. Step 1. Separate goals from identity. What to do? Start defining yourself by processes, not outcomes. Instead of, I want to achieve X, shift to, I am someone who practices Y. Why it works. Your brain stabilizes identity through repetition, not results. When identity is tied only to outcomes, it collapses once the outcome is achieved. Example, instead of, I want to get fit, you become someone who trains consistently.
Now, even after reaching a fitness goal, your identity continues. Step 2. Build ongoing uncertainty. What to do? Create goals that evolve instead of ending. Why it works. Dopamine thrives on uncertainty and progression. Fixed goals have an endpoint. Dynamic ones keep the brain engaged. Example. Instead of, I want to earn X amount, you shift to, I want to improve my skill level in this field. There's no final point, so your brain stays involved. Step 3. Process the arrival gap. What to do? Give yourself time to feel the emptiness without rushing to fix it. Because your brain needs to update its internal model of reality. This is called cognitive recalibration. If you immediately distract yourself or chase something new, the gap never resolves. Example. After achieving something big, instead of jumping into the next thing, you sit with the question, what actually changed and what didn't? Step 4. Reconnect with intrinsic motivation. What to do? Focus on activities that feel meaningful while doing them, not just after. Why it works. Intrinsic motivation activates different neural pathways than external rewards. It creates sustained engagement rather than short-term spikes. Example. You might notice that creating, learning, or helping others feels satisfying during the process. That's a different kind of reward system. Step 5. Expand your identity, not replace it. What to do? Add layers to who you are instead of constantly redefining yourself. Why it works. Your brain prefers continuity. When identity is constantly reset, it creates instability and emotional fatigue. Example. You don't stop being someone who worked hard to achieve X. You build on top of it, adding new roles, interests, and directions. The emptiness you feel is not random. It follows a pattern. First, your brain locks on to a future. Then it drives you towards it using anticipation. Then you arrive, and the system turns off. And in that silence, you meet yourself without the chase. That's the moment most people misunderstand. They think something is wrong, but really, it's just the end of one mental loop and the beginning of another. If you remember one thing, let it be this. You're not meant to feel complete after achieving something. You're meant to keep evolving while doing it. That emptiness you feel is not a void. It's space. Space that used to be filled with anticipation. Now it's open. And what you place there next doesn't have to be another chase. It can be something quieter, something more stable, a way of living instead of just arriving. Because maybe the goal was never supposed to complete you. Maybe it was only supposed to bring you here, to this moment, where you finally see how your mind works. And from here, you can choose differently. Not out of pressure, but out of awareness.